welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode. It's definitely the first episode, not the second. Shut up if anyone says otherwise. It
was a pilot episode.
It didn't count. It's not canon. Shit's not canon, except for the tiny parts
Thank
within
Christ for that.
that we like, such as the rants and the gripes and the specific phrases that will, well, probably already has gotten put on the quotes board of my Discord. I am your most honorless host, Sea Lion. With me is the. I didn't prepare a thing this time. Last time I prepared.
I have hemorrhoids forming in my ass.
Yes. With me is the boy hospitalized for hemorrhoids. It is Anus, Volk. And
hello.
And also with me is the doctor proceeding over the operation and who's also saying it's not looking good, Trip.
You're in a world of pain, Volk. if I'm your doctor, you are screwed.
I'm probably fucking dead already.
I mean, tell us something we don't know.
Well, maybe they're not hemorrhoids?
That's a start. They could be what's like a hemorrhoid but isn't.
Tumors.
Piles.
Wait a minute.
Piles? Could be piles. Piles is, I think, our most optimistic answer. Our most optimistic possibility.
I like anal tumors, I'm sorry. I think that's more preferred.
Well, I didn't ask you for your fucking fetish, mate, alright?
It's not a fetish, it's just saying which one hurts less or more.
Wow, we're starting strong tonight.
I want us to start strong. This is what we need. This is how we get our name out there, by talking about anal fishes in the first 5 fucking seconds. This is how you get noticed.
Sorry,
okay?
for 5 minutes in.
Everyone's just left already.
What?
No.
No. There's people who are like they're going through med school, listening to us for our expertise opinion of these.
If you're in med school, you should not be dealing with someone with anal tumors.
Hey, those tumors need to get fixed. All right. What is your problem against people with anal problems?
Because they need chemo for their ass.
Yeah, and just stick your ass into the
What
chemo
do you mean,
machine.
and?
That's how it works, right?
I get that one image from fucking SpongeBob in my head where this guy's got his ass in this giant ass machine.
Oh, I know.
Because
that.
he fucking broke something.
Yeah, I know
That's
that.
the image
I know
that
that
got
image.
stuck in my head.
If I can find it on Google Images, I'll throw it up on the VOD. Doctor, you're remaining fairly quiet. Why are you standing?
Trying not to die from laughter.
Are you consulting your clipboard of notes? Is that what's happening now?
I'm consulting how many different ways I want to die.
We all are.
All right. Well, give us some options.
Rope.
Give me ideas.
Fire. Gun.
Okay, now we're getting too real. I was thinking some meme answers.
Oh,
can't
jumping
think.
off a bridge.
Still too real.
Getting ran over by a 14-wheeler?
Getting run over by the battle bus. Is that
Getting
mean enough?
run over by a combine harvester.
There's just cubes of you.
I don't know. I'm just chatting shit at this point.
Well, it's a
We all-
podcast, isn't that the point?
He's not wrong.
Right, shall we actually get onto the agenda
Yeah.
Well,
instead of doing more of this?
so how was your week, Doctor?
I'm not a doctor.
Lies.
I'm really not.
Stick
Like,
to
if I'm a doctor, the
stick
world's
to the
fucked.
fucking script, mate.
What script?
Exactly. Stick to the script.
Okay.
I've
so my
decided
week.
from this point on that we are an impromptu comedy, podcast. We are the Anti-Donna podcast, but shit.
You've met me, right? You know I can't improvise for shit.
I've never actually seen your improv skills. I don't think I've seen any of you two's improv skills.
Don't.
I can only assume that they are flawless, seeing as you're both high quality streamers.
Fuck off.
Yeah, no, you're wrong on that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna do dick thing and say agree to disagree.
Well, I mean,
Your opinion,
not-
boyo.
the opinion's not wrong.
You would just admitted it. You could stream us. There. Boom. Week. Go.
Wait a minute, no.
Yes.
Fuck that, no, I'm shit.
You activated my trap card.
I mean, my
dick
follower
wearing a
account right
dress.
now is the answer to life. Dick wearing a dress. No.
I told you, it's a trap card. That was a really,
No.
Okay, that was a really shit joke. I might cut that. Trip, go on with your week.
Anyway, my week's been packed full of work as usual. Fucking doing some robotics coursework, which is fun.
Oh.
And as far as games is concerned, I've basically played nothing this week. Oh, that is a kind of a lie. Apart from some Civ as usual, I play that every week now. I did buy a new game called Mechanicum. Mechanicus? Warhammer 40,000 was 40,000 Mechanicus. And I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet, but it has very good reviews, and it has the words Warhammer 40,000 and turn-based strategy in it. So I immediately bought it.
I see.
Because I fucking love Warhammer, and as you probably know, I fucking love turn-based strategy. So it was only 20 quid, and I thought, fuck, that's going straight in my basket.
Nice.
So yeah, I haven't actually had a chance to boot up the game yet, but as I said, the reviews are great. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to try and play some this weekend if I have time. No
Nice.
guarantees on that, but that's basically it. It's a short week for me. It's been work.
Yeah, I'm looking at this
Like
thing. It looks
90%
pretty
work.
interesting. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, you get to play the Mechanicum, which is unusual for a Warhammer game because they're usually like the support kind of. They work with the Imperium. They work with the Space Marines and the Imperial Guard and stuff. So they're usually like add-ons to those armies, and most games are usually about those, like the Imperial Guard or the Space Marines. There hasn't really been a game or anything really purely about the Mechanicum, which is why I find it quite interesting. I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Nice.
Also, Darksiders 3 releases in 4 days. Hype.
Yeah, I forgot how close it releases, actually, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I'm so fucking excited for it. I'm not sure when I'm going to actually get a chance to play it, but just having it in my Steam library is going to be so satisfying after so many years. God, I hope the PC version is good. And not like
Hope it doesn't have a progression fucking breaking glitch in the
please
game.
No.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna hold off on it, and if I do get it, it'll likely be PS4 copy or something.
Yeah, probably the smart move. But I want to stream it and I don't have a capture card, so Steam version it is.
Anything else going on for your week, then?
That's about it for me, to be honest. As I said, boring week.
Fair enough. I've just realised that I haven't made an announcement for people to ask us questions for the podcast, so while I do that, Volk, your week, go.
It's fucking sucked. I've done nothing.
Nice.
Sick. I literally had the time to type out the letter Q. So there we go. Right. My week's been.
I've literally just been playing For Honor, Civ, streaming, and then sleeping, and playing with my wiener.
Shadow of War just now. As well.
Well, that too, but mainly playing with my wiener.
Shoving swords up of people's asses. that execution was brutal.
That was gruesome.
That really was. I'm not sure if I clipped that. I should go back and clip that one. Because that one was fucking. That was vicious. That was vicious, forceful anal.
I feel like we don't.
Those words
need to
should
give,
never be in the same sentence.
Well, I feel like we don't need to give context to that whatsoever. So
Just
I
swear to Christ, if you take that as a soundbite
Vicious
out of
anal.
context, I'm gonna murder you.
I'll take that into consideration. No, I won't.
I'll fucking do it if you don't do it. I mean, all of it's open source for us. We can literally just pick out whose we want to take out of context.
This is true.
It's very true.
We can take out of context that you have anal tumors, I guess.
I'm okay with this.
I'm not.
What do you mean you're not? It's my problem if it is.
Why do you gotta be such a square all the time? Why can't you just hang, man?
Why can't you be a circle?
I'm a degenerate, true, but I have limits.
Same.
I genuinely don't think you have limits.
You wouldn't be entirely wrong, but oh well. I gotta maintain my appearance, God.
What appearance?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What appearance do you believe that you have in terms of your reputation?
Well, now that you mention it. Thanks, guys.
Hey, we're on the same boat. Hell, I'm fucking steering that boat. I'm the one looking for the iceberg that is death.
We're like the Titanic, except instead of finding a fucking iceberg, we find land, except we don't crash into the land, we fucking sink.
Yeah, we just see land and the boat just fucking dips. It can't handle it.
Just at the sight of land, it fucking goes away.
Do not want.
Just plummets straight down into the ocean. Alright, well, we've been fucking bitching for like 10 minutes. So get on with your week so we can get on to topics.
Yeah, week's been pretty much like the last one. I literally, hours before this recording, I started Spyro 2 on the Reignite trilogy. And I mean, literally just started. I don't have much of an opinion except for looking at a lot of the voice actors for like all the characters. I way prefer the original in that aspect. It's like up until now, I've been under the impression that every single part of the Reignite trilogy has just been just way better, but the voice acting just is not as, I guess, rememberable as the original cast. Like the original like characters' voices were fucking dumb and out there and goofy and silly and that, but that's what made it fun. And these voice actors just feel just kind of not like they're giving a bad performance. It's just that the actual voices they're doing for those characters are just nothing. Like in the originals, Hunter wasn't some gnarly dude kind of like fucking SoCal skater cunt, you know. And in the Reignited one he is, and it's just like, why'd you go in this direction? I don't understand it. So I don't know. In that aspect, I'm a little disappointed, but so far it's still pretty good. Trying to think if there was anything else I played. More DMC4. Nothing much to say about that other than much like the Souls games. I love Devil May Cry games, but I still suck. So other than that, more editing. I finally decided to just like say fuck it, and I'm gonna move all the stuff I've been editing for Sedge, like basically copy everything from those projects and just stick it on Google Drive and then fucking delete it from my like PC, because having render files that take up like fucking 6 and 9 gigs for just one render file with the amount of space that I have
That's
normally,
ridiculous.
it's just not fucking working anymore. Like it's
Yeah,
getting
I
to
know
the
that
extent
feeling.
where whilst I was editing the intro for this podcast, which you will likely have seen just at the beginning of this, it was just crashing when I was doing the most basic shit. So I needed to do it. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I did anything else. Uni's same old. Still like it. Still going through it and that. Yeah.
We got some fucking great questions, by the way.
We do.
We do actually.
I'm eyeing them a little bit right now, but yeah, I'm glad shit's a bit more active than last time. But yeah.
Yeah, who's the biggest wiener?
Don't bring that back up.
Well, Trip, we can't help it if you're too fucking modest with your Christ killer.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I want you to rename.
I'm sorry that your penis can kill Christ.
Yeah.
This is never going away, is it?
What was the name?
No.
Wait, fuck. What is the? Oh god damn it! What's the name of the spear that pierced Christ's skin when he was crucified? What's the name of that fucking spear? Spear of Destiny. Trip's dick is the Spear of Destiny. I'm writing that down as a title episode.
Wait, Wait, no, you already used that last week. You can't use it again this week.
Tough shit.
What is this?
I'm writing it down. Unless we come up with something better, that's the title. It's up to you guys, really. I'm fine with I'm fine with that as a name.
We're not naming the podcast again after Trips Wiener.
Why
I'm
not?
sorry. We're
Have a running
we're moving
theme.
past that.
Come on.
We're probably gonna make some shitty joke from now and just have it like overtake that for
Again,
for
if we do,
the
I
title.
will write it down. But until then, we're working under the presumption that this episode will be titled "Trip's Dick is the Spear of Destiny." Okay. Until we come up with something better.
And before taken down.
So, I don't know. I opened up the pilot episode
You
saying
gotta
that I was a
stop
dying
this.
fetus in the sink. If we weren't taken down before, I don't think we're gonna get taken down now. We're either flying under the radar or the radar sees us and we're like, can't be asked.
They just
Oh,
can't be
shit.
fucked to come deal with us.
Yeah.
I need a minute.
Do you though?
You know, it's the sad thing. The thing that occurred in my head was just like shot through the heart. As you said, which one pierced his skin? I just had the perfect image of Christ just on the cross and just shot through the heart playing in the background as he gets stabbed with the fucking spear.
Well, see, I thought you were going the completely different direction, so now they have the, image of, some guy and a girl are about to have sex, and then she's like, did you put it in? And he's like, no, oh, here we go. And then once he puts it in, it goes, shot through the heart! And you're too late! Darling, you give love. And then after all that, the girl's like, did you put it in though? She can't notice.
Oh god, I'm fucking crying.
Good.
Holy shit. It's only 20 minutes and we're already in deep with topics, quite literally.
Fucking dead already.
Ugh, regain composure. Just bring it back.
Reel it in.
Oh my god.
Ah, dear.
Speaking of composure, why don't we head on to news with first story.
Fallout 76?
No, we'll get there. I know you guys.
We'll get on to that later.
I know you guys like your hate bonus for 76, right? But we will get there.
Sorry, it's just raging right now. It's hard to contain it.
I kind of figured. I think I could hear
Can
your
we move
dick.
on from dicks, please?
Well, no, I think I could hear Volk's dick pushing his desk up. as we mentioned.
Never mind!
76. All right. Okay, so the first story is.
I'm out of here.
Are you really? You doing this now?
I'm on the floor.
What's the first? Let's just get into it.
Okay.
Shall we?
The first story we have is Overwatch lead designer responds to criticism about the game's current state. So, a YouTuber by the name of Seagull posted a video called "The State of Overwatch." I've watched the video. I actually watched the video before this article was even made, and it is a really nice in-depth look at the current meta, a lot of the fallings and trappings that come with the current state of the game, and most of it was addressing CC, like stuns and not being able to physically move abilities. And
It's also a very large game of rock, paper, and scissors.
yeah, and Jeff Goodman, lead designer, has heard it and announced, I believe on the Overwatch subreddit, but what he said was, overall, we're looking carefully at the amount of crowd control abilities, such as stuns and knockbacks, that remove air control, and seeing if we can remove or reduce some of the effectiveness of these. Any further changes to this PTR will be posted in this thread as well. So, the working theory is that a lot of the Overwatch devs, or at least enough of them to take notice, saw Seagull's video addressing it, because you see, Seagull's video is actually is pretty well made and pretty well spoken. Like, he doesn't sort of going into a big sweary ranty rage or anything. He just lays out what the situation is with how the game works currently, and it's a lot of things of if you don't have certain characters with you, you know, you're gonna lose.
Good luck.
Or if you, I suppose this is more an issue for competitive, really, but it's still an issue of if you aren't counter-picking.
Well, it's an issue of balance.
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
thing.
yeah. It is, but like
it's not a is it good and competitive? It's more of a health of the game.
Oh yeah.
Kind of state.
That's what I meant. It's a more of a issue that is brought up because of like how important a lot of people see the competitive mode as being, and so that's why you need good balance for this game. But a lot of things of like if you're a tracer and you see the enemy team has a Brigitte, unless you are extremely good at getting away from the Brigitte, and all that sort of stuff, you're fucked. Like you have to just counterpick, otherwise your team will lose. And it's a lot of stuff to do with that. And I'm personally, as someone who still plays it every now and then, just sort of like very casually with mates, I still would like, I'm not so incredibly invested in this that I'm like, holding my breath for perfect changes, but I'm invested enough to go, yeah, fix this, please. That would be nice, just so that there's less frustration when I play it. So yeah, I'm hoping they are taking the critique and feedback on board rather well, and hopefully we'll get a better game out of it by the end of this.
Yeah, it's always nice when a company actually listens to the fans. Especially if they actually make an effort to propose a decent argument, a well thought out argument.
Valve.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't give them too much shit
and
for
Riot,
it because,
to be honest.
Well, I don't pay attention to League for good reason, but I addressed that last time. But I mean, TF2 is they've kind of started doing it, I guess you could say, with how they've been releasing patch notes and item changes, rather. It's been like, here's why we're doing this. Except they really didn't listen to the community and their reasoning behind it. They just kind of still went through with it anyways. So, does it really matter? Not really. But this is Blizzard. So, I mean, I think it's good that they're listening to their community, doing something better than Valve.
This is my problem, though.
Blizzard's actually...
From my perspective, some of the time, the people running, essentially changing Overwatch and everything, but devs, publisher, whatever you want to say, sometimes they're listening too much to the wrong side, and I mean that specifically when it comes to nerfs and buffs to specific characters. Like, it's usually a vocal it's enough of a vocal minority that will get characters changed. Like the recent Reaper, or recent-ish Reaper change, that was one of the few times where I went, wow, nobody was talking about this, and they just sort of noticed how nobody was using Reaper, and they added a bunch of nice new stuff for him. As an ex-Reaper main, I look at all that stuff, and I fucking jizzed in my pants. It was amazing. Like, you could fucking cancel out of Wraith mode, like, shadow stepping's quicker, all that sort of stuff.
It was a lot of quality of life, and honestly made him even better because of the heal on hit.
Above all, it made him more fun to play. The only thing that I still...
Also made him viable, because you had to get kills for him to be relatively effective and keep alive. Now you could just shoot at a tank, melt their health, and you're all the way back at full.
Yeah, and it's... like... I still... But, like, back to the thing of, like, them listening too much to the wrong parts, is I specifically regard to Hanzo's rework, and I think back in the day it was Roadhog's nerf. The hook and the changing of his shotgun and that. It's always like
I think the hook.
Was it that described it?
Personal belief.
Was it you?
I think the hook is fine where it is. I think the shotgun's underpowered though.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's where I sit.
Yeah.
Like, who was it that said this to me? It was somebody. I think it might have even been Nuvolk. I'm not sure, but somebody said this. Said to me, when it comes to a lot of the up until I think the Symmetra reworks and the Reaper nerf, when it came to balancing Overwatch characters, it's like they replaced the milk in the coffee with cream without considering how that affects the entire fucking drink. So, like, with Hanzo's rework from Scatter to the Rapid 6-shot, they were like, hey, Scatter's pretty OP against pretty much almost every character in the game. So we're going to change it to a 6
Well-
shot. And without realizing that 6 shot fucking melts tanks' health. Hey, who are 2 of Hanzo's main counter picks? Oh, they happen to be tanks. Are you stupid? No, don't do that. Like, D.Va and Winston were basically the go-to for, oh, hey, they have annoying Hanzo. Somebody either already is or changed to one of those 2 characters and goes and deals. And now it's just tougher to deal with Hanzos.
Yeah, the thing is with scatter arrows, I mean, okay, here's the thing. It's not bullshit one-shots, which was what scatter arrows were,
Yes.
because Roadhog could get one shot.
Yes.
If you just shot him in the leg or right perfectly, and you could get all the scatter shot to land up into him,
Yep.
it would do guaranteed 600 damage.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. It would kill him in one hit. And with D.Va, she had armor so that you could, tank through it. So it'd take one uncharged shot and you would kill D.Va's mech.
Yep.
That's fucking dumb. But the thing is, now it's more time to kill, but also there's more damage output.
Yeah.
Because you can get precision shots. That's not how you balance that.
Yeah. Even though he's a sniper, it's too much. It's just too much damage, honestly. But yeah, I'm hoping that they balance things better going forward, because I still like the game. I still like casually playing it with mates, and Ash is one of the things that makes me want to just download the game again to fucking go into it with mates and just have fun. Because I remember a time where I used to play Overwatch and I would have fun instead of just dumb frustration. Like
It's a foreign concept nowadays.
But this thing with Overwatch, it's like how Seagull says it in his videos. Like, it used to be I could, even if I lost, I could have fun in a match. But nowadays it's either the wins are really good or the losses fucking suck. You know?
I think that's the concept with most games, though, to be fair. But I kind of feel that especially in Overwatch, because it's kind of a roller be rolled mentality.
Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah, what's up next?
Raging Boner intensifies?
Speaking of roles, Bethesda rolled out the first major patch for Fallout 76.
Here we go.
And is a whopping 47 gigabytes on console. Now,
Also, it didn't fix the game for shit.
Yeah.
So I have quite a bit to say about this.
Okay,
as you might have guessed.
before you get into that, I'll read the Eurogamer article about it. So, just to put things in perspective, this is the 1.02 version. Prior to the patch, Fallout 76 on PS4 took up 53.04 gigabytes. Post-patch, it takes up 53.23 gigabytes. So it does replace a lot of the pre-existing file. However, if for anyone who bought the game and has like a data cap on their network on their broadband plan, you have 2 options: A, get fucked, or B, get lucky that your data cap is large enough to download this fucking update and not fuck up your entire month's supply of internet, essentially. There are essentially 4 main bullet points amongst the patch notes. A lot of the other patch notes were fixing specific bugs and tweaks to performance, specifically hitching during gameplay. The 4 main points are mostly to PvP. There's pacifist mode. Players with pacifist mode are able to engage in PvP by contesting a workshop owned by another player. Will now correctly deal full damage to that player as long as they remain hostile. Respawn. Choosing the respawn option after dying during PvP combat will now correctly clear any active hostile status towards other players. Seek Revenge. Cap rewards will now display correctly when choosing the Seek Revenge respawn option after being killed by another player. And Seek Revenge, when targeted by another player who is seeking revenge, the reward amount will now display the correct number of caps that can be earned by killing that player. So, this was... I don't think this would, is the biggest patch to, ever drop. Otherwise, I think people would be stating that. I'm gonna... whilst Trip goes into a rant about it, I'm gonna Google to see if there is... what it has been the biggest patch, if I can find it. By all means, Trip Volk, you have the floor.
Yeah, what that PvP stuff tells me is just that the PvP system they rolled out on release was broken. But anyway, so yeah, just going back to the sheer size of it, you would think that would add some new content, given 47 gigs is a lot. given that the game is only 51 gigs. So you would think it would add some more content, but afterwards the file only increases by like 200 meg. So your game has got 200 meg larger out of a 47 gig update. So 95% of that huge update was overwriting existing content, which it's either modifying how the game works or is bug fixes. And having 95% of the patch, which is already 95% of the size of your game in the first place, that means that 90% of your game either needs to be redesigned or fixed. Like, excuse me?
Also, not to mention how minimal the changes are as well.
Oh yeah, some of them don't even work. Like I pulled up someone did a performance analysis on PS4 and Xbox of some of the so-called changes, because the Bethesda patch notes, the official patch notes on the Bethesda website, are vague as fuck. They sum it up in about 200, 300 words. It's actually pathetic, given the size of this update. So someone did some analysis, and yeah, they did find that some areas where the FPS was known to drop have been improved, but it's a lot less. It's still nowhere near as consistent as it should be. It's different across different people on different servers. And then we get onto the fact that why is the FPS drop such an issue? Well, if Celine could pull up the video of on the podcast of someone looking down at the floor in a high FPS area, a high demand, graphically demanding area, and consequently you get low FPS. Someone looks down at the floor, gets higher FPS, and because of the way that the FPS is tied to the physics engine, as we discussed last week, you get speed hacks by looking at the floor. So you don't even need to modify the ini file like we talked about last week. You literally just look down at the floor, and everything speeds up in these high requirement areas. It's stupid. Like, not only is that an absolutely ridiculous issue to put in an online game, but the fact that all this massive
online shit,
patch doesn't even fix it.
Speaking of online shit, I think the servers are a bit retarded when you do 3 nuke launches at once.
Oh, incredibly!
Oh,
yeah,
that's crashing.
I'm no network hurdle, but when something that is a key function to the game, as far as I'm aware, is to beating it, that shouldn't be, crashing your server.
Yeah.
Especially if that's got multiple people on it, and that's one person's progression.
So I'll probably put this up on the VOD, but to give full context to that story, basically, some Fallout 76 players launched 3 nukes at once in the same spot, and it completely fucking crashed the server.
Everyone got ejected from the server.
The person who did, one of the people who were involved, uploaded that video to YouTube, and there's a full video including the server crash and everything. And yeah, it was. It's not surprising to me right now that the game is on sale a week after launch. By the way,
I was just about to get onto that, but yeah, it's not. I would even go as far as to say is the Fallout 76 netcode is in the region of Dark Souls remastered bad. It's absolutely terrible, given the fact it's meant to be a multiplayer game. And yeah, I'm pretty sure in high street shops, like you go to fucking Debenhams or something, it is actually illegal under consumer law to display something on sale if it hasn't been in its full RRP for a month. And I'm pretty sure that's... I learned that at GCSE in business studies or something. I'm pretty sure that's a law somewhere. But I'm not sure if games are exempt for that, or if it's probably where it's a European law, so Bethesda doesn't apply, or whether it's Black Friday. But yeah, taking 33% off a week after launch, I'm betting a lot of people who pre-ordered it at full price are kind of getting a bit salty. You don't do that. You don't market a game at $60, advertise it, hype it up, and then put it on sale a week after. I mean, barring the fact, let's say it's the most amazing game ever, loads of people are going to be pre-ordering it and buying it on release if the reviews are good. So the fact that you then put it on sale a week after is just a blatant insult to consumers, quite frankly, and I actually kind of hate Bethesda for that, to be honest. Still not buying it.
Yeah.
But going back to the sales, even if it was a good game, which it isn't, their sales are down 80% from Fallout 4.
Yep.
Which is kind of karmic justice, to be honest. I can't feel sorry for them because what is this piece of shit that you're selling us?
Mm.
So yeah, I think rightly so. People aren't buying that shit. They aren't just taking whatever crap Bethesda feeds them. Good on them.
I personally, I don't. It's hard for me to hate the game, just from the state of I don't own it. I wasn't that interested in the first place, but it does still I think you said last week. It does still worry me for like game.
Yeah, for future. Yeah,
for Elder Scrolls
I don't
6
hate
specifically.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't hate the game.
Yeah.
I just strongly dislike Bethesda now for thinking that this was acceptable. Like, it's not just one or two things they've done wrong.
Yeah.
This has been an amalgamation of clusterfucks.
Yes, is
all through the
they
past,
really
the past
should have
month or
left
so.
it.
I think this.
and
They
they
really
just
should have
might-
left it for another year.
I think this might be the because Bethesda, to my knowledge, is the only game developer that ever got away with this kind of shit, like releasing games like this buggy and fucked. And I think this game might have tipped
They've
it
crossed the line this
over,
time.
over the acceptability margin. You know, like
because it's Bethesda, people know that this is the kind of thing to expect, so they're more lenient on bugs and stuff in release. But there's being lenient, and then there's taking the piss,
What do you
which
guys-
is what this game is doing.
do you guys know why Fallout New Vegas came out booked?
No,
I
'cause
do remember reading
didn't pay
something about
attention.
that, yeah,
So
but I can't remember the details.
So Obsidian and Bethesda's deal for Fallout New Vegas was that Obsidian would get bonuses if New Vegas scored like a certain point or above on Metacritic. And basically Bethesda did a thing where they rushed Obsidian to release the game months before it should have been released, so that the Metacritic would tank and Bethesda wouldn't have to pay their bonuses. And it's because of Bethesda that Obsidian nearly went under. Like, if it wasn't for the success of Pillars of Eternity, then the company just wouldn't exist right now. It just fucking wouldn't exist. It's entirely because of Bethesda that their company nearly fucking went under. And that is the main reason why I still hate Bethesda. Like,
It's ironic that Fallout New Vegas is also considered one of the best Fallout games after all of that.
yeah. It's, this is the thing. A lot of people, specifically Jesse Cox, is putting forth this. It is kind of a fan theory, but the idea is that because Microsoft recently bought them out, and Microsoft has been doing a shit ton towards Fallout 76's advertising, like every single Fallout 76 advert I've ever seen has ended with, began and end with like the Xbox One logos and that.
Yeah.
The theory is that Microsoft are going to basically help fund Bethesda make a kind of Fallout New Vegas 2 with Obsidian making it, and it would be an Xbox One exclusive. That's the theory.
Oh.
Which I haven't
please,
played
no.
New Vegas, but I know that would piss a lot of people off just from an exclusive part. However,
As a theory, that pisses me off.
well, no. As a theory, I'm okay with that simply because I would rather it be an exclusive than it not exist at all.
I guess there's an argument for that, but
Like, that's my argument when it came
to
to
be
Bayonetta
honest-
2. I would rather that it's a Wii U exclusive than it not existing whatsoever. The few times I've gotten to play Bayonetta 2, because I didn't own a Wii U, the few times I've gotten to play Bayonetta 2, that game is fucking amazing. And the second I own a Switch, I'm buying 2, which will have 1 on it, and pre-ordering 3, which most likely, because 3 is new to the Switch and that, you will most likely get Bayonetta 1 and 2 with that. But I'm under the camp of I'd rather exist than not at all.
it's fair. There's an
Also,
argument for both
would
sides.
like to say that the game was announced 6 months before release.
Yeah,
And if they had put out a beta within somewhere between 3 or 4 months, I think it would have been fine, because then they could have adjusted the issues that was going on. But I honestly think that they were still putting it under the press to get that to work.
Oh, yeah.
And if they had, waited to announce it, and actually put out a beta that fucking mattered instead of just, oh, here's a way to progress into the game earlier.
Yeah.
Is a demo.
I think it would have
essentially.
been, yeah, it was basically a demo, except demos don't get you shit, other than, hey, I've played this game. I think if they had, waited to announce it maybe 3 months down the line and then release it maybe, I don't know, nine months would have been reasonable. I think it would be all right, but it isn't.
I think this massive patch was released so soon after the actual rollout, and it's probably a lot of it probably was because of the beta. I know we kind of ripped into the beta last week for being so close to the release, but I think at that stage, when you get the reports back from the beta, people finding all these bugs, all these issues, I think there is no fucking shame in saying, okay, we're going to push the release back 2 weeks to address these issues.
Yeah.
So we can release the game in a working state instead of just throwing it out there as it is and then working on it later. I hate the mindset of just getting it out there and fixing it later. That is like completely the opposite of my work ethic.
Yeah.
And I think it's partly why I dislike this so much. But I think there would have been like some salty fanboys that, oh no, I can't wait 2 more weeks. But to be honest, I think most people will go, no, good on you. Get a working product, take time, and make it worth the money.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been better received. As it stands, also, people wouldn't have to download a fucking 47 gig update and have their data issues, like you mentioned. But I think it would have been slightly better received. It will still be a crap game at the end of the day, just from game design alone, but it wouldn't be as much of a dumpster fire as it is.
So I've managed to find a spreadsheet for PS4 retail update sizes for games. I'm just gonna list the let's go top 5 just to give a little scale. So this is say if you bought the games now and put it in the disc, and this is what the update sizes are now, from fresh, not having any previous patch installments. So number 5 is Destiny 2 at let's say 41 gigabytes. That's version 1.21. No, sorry, I missed the. I read number 6. That was Star Wars Battlefront 2. Destiny 2 is 48 gigs, and that's version 1.28. There's Fallout 76, a version 1.02. Bear in mind, this will include version 1.01, and it's nearly 51 gigs. Then it's Black Ops 4 at 53
Really?
53 gigs.
Wow.
That's
unexpected.
That's version 1.06, and then the biggest one, this is fucking huge actually, is for Elder Scrolls Online version 1.41, nearly 65 gigs.
To be honest, that's to be expected.
I actually kind of expect that.
Yeah.
But I expect
It is
that
an
because
MMO after all.
yeah, that's the thing. It's an MMO. Fucking.
It's designed to be like that.
Warcraft 3 is up in the top 20 here. But yeah, I expect that for an MMO. I kind of expect that from Fallout 76, knowing the game design now. In that now I see, this is a very surface level MMO for all intents and purposes.
I do agree with that on some level. I expected large updates down the line, not 6 days after release.
Yeah, that is the big point.
That's the biggest issue I have.
I'm actually gonna copy this and put it in the Discord just for me later when I'm editing this in.
What was the last? There was one more thing I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, it's the performance on PS4. The update seems to have screwed some people. This isn't too common, but I've seen more than one report of it. Again, there's another video if that's up. You can see someone looks like it looks like someone's run it through a corruptor. That video is insane. It looks like one of these old Sonic games that Funk or Vinesource has run through a corruptor and has tried to play the game. It looks awful. It's a borderline unplayable.
Well,
the Division did this shit to me, but it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, and that wasn't on its own either. There were multiple. That's the only video I think of it, but there were multiple people reporting that on PS4. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to be a widespread issue, but still, that shit shouldn't happen.
Well, unfortunately, one of the
Breaks my immersion, unfortunately.
one of the hot off the presses news stories from Eurogamer is this.
Oh, is this the...
This is Fallout 76 bug
Oh,
grants
no.
player
Oh my...
permanent god mode, and now they're begging for death.
Oh, I need to see this. I need
So,
to read this.
That's a
From,
title.
from reading the article here,
Okay. When was this published?
this was published
Probably just today.
Literally an hour ago, I
yeah.
think.
an hour ago.
A couple of hours ago.
God.
So, I'm going to read through this. This is an article by Wesley
Oh,
Pooh,
Jesus Christ.
deputy editor for Eurogamer. So, I'm going to skim through bits of it here. What happens when you're locked into God mode permanently against your will? Redditor Brogadin took to Fallout 76 subreddit to complain about a bug that made their character unkillable after hitting around level 40. She can even eat a nuke blast to the face and be fine, Brogadin wrote. There is literally 0 ways that she can die even if I wanted to, which I very much do at this point. So Fallout 76 includes an instant kill barrier at the fissure south of White Spring. Normally, any character who enters it dies immediately. Not Brogadin, no. Here's an image showing their character standing, nonplussed, in the fissure. And there's an image right there with the caption, Brogadin's character standing happily in the fissure kill hole. Even drowning doesn't work, Brogadin said. So Fallout 76, which is already riddled with bugs and other technical issues, considers Brogadin's character to have 0 health points, or negative health points. The character occasionally gets some health back, but dropping it doesn't result in death. I'm not sure what state the game is in. The game is actually reading me in.
I was gonna say, oh, maybe that his hitbox wasn't there with his view model, or, something along the lines of that, but he's actually dead. What?
I'm really frustrated and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, Brogadin continued. The character's nearly level 100 and has hit the bottle cap limit. So what the heck am I supposed to do besides actually starting to make all content in the game trivial? I would agree with that. This email continues with basic information that feels like a huge kick in the teeth at this point. Jesus. This is accidental god mode through bug, and the player doesn't want it and wants his character to fucking die. Jesus Christ.
How do you manage accidental god mode? I have so many questions.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna look up just to
How
make
do
sure.
you, it might shed some light on it as to seeing how he actually managed this, what the actual bug was, what he was doing at the time, and how he realized. But
Oh, here's a Reddit thread of it.
how the fuck did you? Oh, cheers.
I guess, and this is where it might have come from.
It's permanently got, and Bethesda doesn't seem to care. Nice.
Yep, that's Brogadin's post.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, this is the community manager as well. The community manager's talking about this. Thanks for providing us with so much information. Would you mind providing your Battle.net username so I can pass it along to the team investigating issues? Here's some of the additional info that we must need. Hold on. You're asking for BNet username, which means Bethesda's launcher, if I'm assuming correctly.
Yeah.
But you're also assuming for his platform, his Xbox or PSN username.
Yeah, it's because of the.
What?
It's because of what's it? You do that with Fallout 4 and Skyrim now because of Monster Porn.
Oh, because of the community
Yeah.
or creator club and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, now that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's why.
The affected character name, what you're doing prior to being affected. If he's giving you information, wouldn't he tell you that already?
Yeah.
Providing with so much information. Stop giving us fucking statements like this. This is what matters.
Yeah. I've looked at to see who specifically developed, if it was a Bethesda spin-off studio, it is Bethesda Studios Austin, but the director for the game is still listed as Todd Howard. Well then, I don't actually have any more news on Fallout 76, and I think that's kind of a blessing. Kind of a blessing in disguise.
I want to look into this more at some point, because my god.
At some point.
It just
That's
gets,
a mistake.
every time you think it can't get any worse, it does.
It gets way worse.
Yeah.
God mode, single player, you don't care. It's the fact that this is a multiplayer game, and you've got shit like that. Like, that is the pinnacle of it. Imagine that in, like, Black Ops 4 or something. Someone just accidentally discovers God mode in Black Ops 4, gets all of the supports, like infinite health, all of the guns. Like, there would be riots.
Yeah.
Yeah, people would be pissed about that. In fact, actually, on the topic of Black Ops 4, and this isn't in the news at all, but apparently people are receiving dark matter for free in multiplayer, which means you have to get diamond on every weapon, meaning you have to get every camo on every weapon to get up to diamond on one weapon. So then it's a entire thing, but people were getting it for free as people were literally spending so many hours getting it.
Well, how are they getting it for free? Just like a bug?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Which is kind of fucked, and I don't think they revoked it at all either.
Oh. Shit.
It just kind of happened.
Jeez. Wow.
Oh dear. You see, it's this... again, some bugs do fly under the radar, but some things can just be found with rigorous testing.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
You can't say that you can let this just kind of fly under testing.
No.
Accidental God mode in a
SQ
multiplayer game.
SQA exists for a reason. Like, it is there for a fucking reason.
Have you guys heard of Todd Rays?
No.
No, I haven't.
So I was listening to the Super Best Friend cast, and something that Pat brought up, I don't know where he discovered it, but apparently, you know what a God Ray is in a game, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
No.
it's like a linear ray of light that you can see, like coming from a light source.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they put a load of them in Skyrim remaster or whatever, or special edition. However, a Todd Ray is a God Ray that doesn't come from a light source. Like, it's a God Ray that's fucking...
So it just appears.
Well, it's something... It's like a God Ray that's not coming from any visible light source. Like, it's coming from up above the ground, or like through a ceiling, or in Skyrim's case,
but there's
through a fucking
there's
mountain.
no way to get in.
I experienced that. When he brought it up, I was like, fuck yeah, I remember there was God rays like shining directly into my character's eyes through the fucking throat of the world. I remember that.
Now you mention that, yeah.
Yeah.
That happens a lot in Skyrim.
That's what they call Todd rays.
Mm.
I
like that.
Speaking of revealing light, just to get us off that. Speaking of revealing light, the Black Mesa developers have revealed the trailer for the Zen chapters. I am excited.
Oh, boy.
I'm excited because I played
that.
Black Mesa not too long ago, like over the summer and that. Like I played like all 3 versions of Half-Life I could, like original, Source, and Black Mesa. And Black Mesa is fucking amazing. And I didn't actually know that Zen hadn't been finished and wasn't included in the final thing when I was playing. I was like, and then it said coming soon Zen chapters. Like, oh, okay, that's neat. But it gives me like a good excuse to go back and play the entire thing again. Hell, I might, if I'm lucky enough to get my like PC thing together by the time it's out, which is I believe second quarter of 2019, I think. Like second fiscal quarter, I think they use. I'll be able to stream it or something. But I am super excited, mostly because I want to see how they handle it. Because from the other 2 versions of Half-Life I played, Zen was my least favorite part by a long shot. Like, I straight up do not like the final boss simply because he starts spamming the teleport ray, and it's so fucking annoying. I hate that aspect of the boss. I like the overall concept of like jumping up on these like alien pads to shoot him in his brain as it's opening. I like that. That's cool. What I don't like is the teleport shit.
Rip that off.
Fuck the teleport shit. But I am, and also like the platforming in Zen felt a bit kind of like barren and rushed a little bit. But I am super excited to see how they handle this. From the looks of it, it looks literally just from aesthetically, it looks fucking amazing.
I
have to
play Black Mesa, but after the disgusting mess that was Hunt Down the Freeman,
Oh god.
I can't be bothered to care.
I would.
We don't talk about Hunt Down the Freeman.
No, we don't. But I would argue that Hunt Down the Freeman was just a mistake. like they were trying to add.
Shouldn't have been made.
They were trying
Yeah,
to add
that's,
to like
It's accurate.
lore, which it's I don't know. It felt like such a shit fan fiction, whereas this is just remastering a beloved classic. And from what I can see from the trailer, I did put the trailer in the little channel where we post links and that. It looks fucking amazing. Like this looks like an entirely different like level compared to like original Half-Life and Source. Like I can look at this trailer and like I already know from playing the game, but I can look at this trailer especially and just go, yeah, a whole lot of love and attention to detail is being put into this.
It looks fucking good, to be honest. Yeah.
So I am excited for that. Speaking of other things I'm excited for, is Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. It's got a physical edition confirmed. Will include season pass, which again, this is for like I will be even more excited when I actually get around to owning a Switch. I just briefly want to mention it because I fucking love Grasshopper. They make some you know the phrase Eurojank?
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys make Jap jank. Ambitious,
Sounds hilarious to be honest.
flawed, and fucking dumb and fun and just I love Grasshopper, man. I love them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. No More Heroes is a fucking favourite of mine. I played the shit out of that on the PS3. We briefly talked about a lot of dead things there. Namely Fallout, namely Fallout 76, and
surprise.
yeah, and Half-Life. But development.
I wonder how many weeks Fallout 76 is going to come up as a topic. Like,
I was gonna say, how
many
long
more,
is a running topic?
How many more ways are they going to fuck up?
Honestly, I am expecting 3.
Like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I
same.
hope they fix it, but
If nothing
at
in
the
the
same
news was
time-
coming up about them, we literally wouldn't be talking
Yeah.
about them. Like,
it's
But
a shame.
speaking from moving
Anyway.
from one dead thing to another, development resumes on Telltale's Walking Dead: The Final Season.
I thought Telltale was going under.
Oh, they are.
They are. They're just finishing up this last chapter. It's
Yep.
like their final game.
It's being overseen
Okay.
by Skybound, which is basically the people that owns the Walking Dead IP.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last episode, Suffer the Children, launched in September and proved to be Telltale's final release. So,
Ironically, that'll probably be their best seller because of the fact that they're going under.
yeah, it's
That's a shame.
yeah, it is a shame, but honestly, I wouldn't say it's the entire company of Telltale's fault. I'd say it's the higher ups' fault because they were like,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Great.
we've struck gold with this formula that they used for."
Let's milk it until
Well,
it's
yeah.
fucking boring for everyone.
Yeah, I literally played Walking Dead season 1, and then Wolf Among Us. I really genuinely really like those games. I played season 2 and I was like, this is a lot of the same. And then I watched a Let's Play of 3, and I was just like, I'm kind of glad I didn't buy this. Because it's not just a thing of like, it's so formulaic, but it's also a thing of like, it was approaching Quantic Dream levels of what the fuck. There is
Retardation.
Oh,
well,
no.
there is no logic that didn't make any sense, or like my main complaint about those kinds of games, which is just screaming at characters who are like alone with each other in a room, and they have like a unspoken like problem between one another, and I'm just sitting on my seat screaming at the screen, just talk, just fucking talk. There is no reason to
Fuck
not
already.
fucking talk. If you don't fucking talk, you're complicating it for later. Fucking talk. So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played, any real Telltale games besides Tales from the Borderlands, which great thing, by the way. Tales from the Borderlands is fucking amazing.
I have
but
heard good things about the writing. Yeah.
I also don't like what they've done, killing off certain characters, because that's canon. That's going to make a difference in how the game is, and if Borderlands 3 doesn't do good, we have problems. Because that's going to put Gearbox under.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Nope.
Because if you don't know already, fucking pre-sequel sucked ass, so money was, tight on that. And with that DLC, the Claptastic Voyage that they were supposed to release, instead of having Gearbox Australia work on it, which was the developers for the pre-sequel itself, they the Gearbox in America had cut them off and completely laid off the Australian team and made the DLC themselves.
Wow.
So if this doesn't do good, they're fucked and their company's done.
Yep. Which is a big shame.
It would.
Yeah.
It's never
but
nice.
It seems that Borderlands 3 is getting a lot of love, so
yeah.
I think it's gonna be really good because they're holding off.
Yeah. This is the thing. I don't think it's ever anything. Even if it was like fucking like let's say hypothetically whether it would be Quantic Dream or like Bethesda and all their IPs like get sold or moved to like another company who will make good games from them. Like let's just say hypothetically, even if those companies I fucking hate, I still would be like, no, this is still a bad thing because there are honest, good working developers in those companies, and this industry is getting fucked and more fucked and more fucked by the day, by the minute even, and it's never a good thing when a studio goes under.
Yeah, it's also just the fact that they're experienced on it as well. Like, even if it wasn't great, like they still have the experience with that game and that series.
You know, I just realized I don't remember Bethesda or Todd Howard tweeting out whilst the Telltale devs had no place to work. Hey, come work for us. We need you to test our game that will be balked. I don't remember them doing that, but I suppose it's different.
Yeah, I don't think they had game testers run 76 at all, I'm going to be honest.
They did, but I reckon very few with
I bet they
with very little
got
time.
nothing.
I'm pretty sure Todd Howard went around the QA floor and just went, "Hey, does it launch?" And they went "Yeah, I guess." But there's a myriad of other.
But does it launch though?
There's a myriad of other things, and he's like, "Nope, doesn't matter. It's already shipped."
Does it launch? Well, only if the game doesn't delete itself.
Oh, it's worse when it's a real issue. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of shit-breaking games, I think you're gonna have the main topic of discussion for this one, and it's the Alien game that Gearbox had put out.
Colonial Marines.
The one that completely broke itself because there was a typo in the INI file.
I explained this in the stream. It is my favorite fucking game story in the last 5 years. Okay.
I don't think I've heard this.
Okay. Right. So, Gearbox basically used the Aliens Colonial Marines deal that they made with Sega to basically their entire goal was just hype it up all to shit, get as much money as we can, and they were basically going to get bonuses from Sega, and they did in the end, and they would use that to basically help develop one of the Borderlands games. I think it was 2 or something, because I can't in my mind place dates as to which came out first, but either way,
they came out a year apart.
Yeah,
I think Colonial Marines came after actually.
Okay, but yeah, they basically Gearbox was just it turns out we're just using it as a sort of just a bit more of a money generator sort of thing. So they did work. That's not to say they didn't work hard in the game. They did. However, the game came out completely fucking balked and broken to shit. The main complaint was that the AI behind the aliens, the xenomorphs, was trash. That the thing is that basically the main persona behind Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, I believe, was basically the alien AI is so smart, it'll run up walls, go in vents, try and sneak behind you, and all this sort of stuff. And the game came out.
I have heard this now.
The game came out, and technically he lied. The game wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, that recent revelations through a Resetera thread that one guy did. He used the PC version of the game. He went into the game's INI file because he wanted to see if there was anything that was overlooked. Boy howdy was there something fucking overlooked. So it turns out that one of the main scripting for the alien AI was to tether the like specific like aliens to like different spots around the map, so that it could tell basically where it can go, like all the sort of like different shafts that would go around, all the sort of like different places that would go around, like
basically give them a personality and how they were supposed to play.
Yeah. Turns out they misspelt the word tether. And that was the entire reason why the AI was balked. They spelt it T-E-A-T-E-R, not T-E-T-H-E-R. He changed the spelling error, played the game, and who'd have thunk it? The aliens fucking work as intended. And they're even good, apparently. I want to test this myself. The second I get my PC rig, that's going to be one of the first fucking things I play. I stream it like as intended, like without the spelling error fixed, showing how shit it is, and I stream it with the spelling error fixed. I
want to see that.
I need to get my fucking hands on this. I need to, because if your game comes out, you're the developer. If your game comes out and everyone's saying it's balked, it's busted, it's fucking broken as all shit, wouldn't the first fucking thing you check be the fucking INI file? Wouldn't it be though?
It depends.
No, it doesn't. I've talked to actual game developers, and they're like, yeah, the first thing you would do is run through the INI file, then run through all the other like subsystem like scripting error scripts and all that sort of stuff. The INI file is the first fucking thing you overlook, like look over rather, and they just completely missed a very obvious spelling error. It's T.
I also don't think that they even checked
not
at all.
Tether, apparently.
See, this is why you run development overlookers like Style Cop to make sure that this doesn't happen. I don't see why, because people don't like to have. I know this is a special problem in coding and in programming. People don't like to have their programming style dictated to them, and to change the way that they write. Like, everyone has their own style of writing code. And like, well, I had to use a standard which was enforced by a bot called Style Cop when I was working in fire safety, because of the nature of the programming and the safety, the precautions involved. We were forced to abide by a certain safety standard. So I learned to deal with it. But in reality, like, after I got over the fact that, okay, this is how I'm supposed to code now, it's actually really fucking helpful, because it points out exactly errors like these, typos that somehow get past a compiler or a builder. And because it doesn't recognize it as an object, so StyleCop will throw up a warning saying, "Are you sure you meant this word?" And you go, "Oh, hang on. No, I don't." But people don't like them because they don't like to have those kind of things dictated to them, and I think that's a poor way of thinking about it. It helps so much in the long run.
The thing that blows my mind is that they didn't check the INI file for that sort of stuff, and it also somehow didn't come up in testing for them. Like,
oh yeah.
How?
Like, it's the fact that the bug is there at all is inexcusable. Never mind how it can be fixed, but yeah.
It's just plain and simple. How would they not notice? Like, okay, contrast it to all the Fallout 76 stuff. They would notice that. It's Bethesda, so they're going to ship it anyway. Whereas they wanted to make a good functioning game, and they didn't run into these problems, or didn't know how to fix it, and just didn't spot the spelling error somehow.
This is why you test rigorously.
I don't get it. I don't.
Like, in my mind,
I don't fucking get it.
A test is only a successful test if you find something wrong. Like, if you found if using during your testing phase, you found a bug or something wrong with the design, or you think you may have done something, you can do something better. You go back, you fix it, you test it again, you improve it a little more. You keep going for a long time. Like, I would say 50%, maybe even more than 50% of the development process should be during testing and reiterating and fixing. Not like the last 10% just saying, does it run? Yes, ship it. Like, it's a huge part of development, and the fact that no one fucking spotted this, that's ridiculous, quite frankly.
I think that's also a good way to have development going as well, in general, because we basically use that same test method in robotics, actually, where it's 50% of our effort is going to be us testing it. We try to finish as fast as possible, but not to rush. Keep that in mind. But we're supposed to get it done within a set time period so we can make adjustments and modifications if we need to on the spot.
Yeah.
So
No, that was the same when I was working at Johnson Controls. Whenever my manager gave me something to do and says, "Okay, you have 3 weeks to do this," he would come back a week and a half later saying, "I want to see the completed code," because he expected me to finish the actual writing by then and then move on to the testing. Because that is, I mean, it's enforced a lot stricter in safety protocols and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is what I was working in, and it's much less so for gaming because if something goes wrong, you just fix it. But if something goes wrong in like a fire panel, then people could die. So it's a different situation, I grant. But to be honest, it's just a good way of thinking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's a lot slower, and that's why I guess some companies don't like it because time is money. And if your software life cycle is a lot slower, you're going to be losing a lot more money. But to be honest, in the long run, your consumers, you are marketing to consumers, and if you sell a shit product, they're not going to come back. So I think it's worth the investment, the time investment.
Yeah.
But AAA companies especially just don't get it through their heads. They'd rather just make their money with a half-assed product and loot boxes and microtransactions.
because it's a cash cow.
Yeah, and they don't give a shit, really.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
It's like this seemed, like, in terms of the Alien one, it was like, I don't know, it just feels too dumb. Like, it feels like they might have been too embarrassed to admit and just, like, quote-unquote, turned a blind eye to it or something.
Well, you can disguise it and things like that. You just say, "Oh, we found the problem." Just don't say what it is. Just say, "Here's an update. Change the typo just slightly in the update." No one would notice unless they were really looking. And if they do notice, who cares? You fixed the issue.
Yeah.
You found out the problem, and now you've got a good game. So yeah, there'll be like a few days of PRs like, "Oh, look at that, haha, they fucking misspelled their ini file." Well, at least we spotted it and fixed it. It only gets worse the longer you leave it, in my opinion. So
yeah,
I think either they made a stupid decision if that was the case, they just thought, "Fuck it, we'll forget about it," or they just never looked at it in the first place, which is arguably worse.
I think it is worse, in my opinion. Like, this tainted the company's the developer's reputation for...
I'm not surprised.
Forever, practically. Like, the only people who don't... It's not that they don't acknowledge it, it's the only people who don't really seem to, like, put much thought into it are sort of more, like, you know, loyal, like, probably loyal Borderlands fans and, you know, things like that. And it's not saying, like, oh, you should remember everything a developer has done when they fucked up. I think remember the important ones. This is a very important one. This is a very important one that I will never forget, and I fucking need to get my hands on a version of that game with the AI fixed. I need to. It's the same reason why I went to see the Emoji Movie in theaters. I had to know.
Oh God!
I had to know. Yeah.
I didn't have the stomach to do it.
I had to know. I had to know.
I couldn't be fucked to do it.
Yeah,
I thought it was a waste of my time.
Oh, it was. The
Kadikarus'
entire thing
review
was just a big, long, shitty advert, but I had to know.
Yeah. No, I watched Kadikarus' review and was just like, no, definitely not.
Yeah. Speaking of turning blind eyes to things, for some reason in China, for Kingdom Hearts 3, Winnie the Pooh is being censored. So in the trailers for the moment in China, Winnie the Pooh is just an amorphous white smudgy blob, like covering it.
It's not just in Kingdom Hearts 3 either. It's in everything.
Yeah, it's in everything where Winnie the Pooh makes an appearance, and you may be wondering, well, why is it? Maybe like in China they have some things against like bears, or maybe it's because Winnie the Pooh is like a yellow color, and they think it might be like be some sort of indictment to like a racist, like, you know, like Asian yellow like thing. No, it turns out it's because a lot of people have been making the comparison for the Chinese president Xi Jinping, making comparison between him and Winnie the Pooh. It's kind of a meme, and China and the government have copped onto this and have like any kind of like depictions of the character. It's just censored in China. Like,
it's idiotic because all you're doing is drawing more attention to it.
Yeah, and now
like,
more memes of
famous line.
more memes of the present
Yeah.
like looking like in the same sort of like poses and position and posture as like Winnie the Pooh screenshots, and they just people are just memeing him more. So
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
I don't think it was like
As
the Chinese government came out and said like this is why we censored it. It was I think it was just like found out, like because like the article reads, however, the Chinese government has ordered the censorship due to its fear it will cause instability within the country. Back in August, China banned any depictions of the character after some compared Winnie the Pooh's appearance to that of the Chinese president. One of the memes compared a 2013 of Winnie and Tigger to a photo of Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, and Barack Obama walking together.
Yeah.
So
to quote
Tigger.
To quote a good line from Game of Thrones, when you cut out a man's tongue, you aren't proving him a liar. You're just telling the world that you fear what he has to say. You're literally just making the problem worse by saying, okay, I don't like this. I find this insulting. But by banning the fucking character across your entire country, you're just showing you can't take a joke or an insult, and you have an incredibly thin skin, and B, you're just going to draw so much more attention to it. It's like, why is this happening? Especially if you don't give a reason, like a proper reason.
Well,
people are just going to speculate, and it's going to get worse. So I think it's completely idiotic.
Further in the article, there's a bit more sort of like reasons why, I guess. In 2015, China also censored a Winnie the Pooh / Xi Jinping Ming based on a photograph of the president at a military parade. This image became the most censored image of the year, and according to Global Risk Insights, the Chinese government saw it as a serious effort to undermine the dignity of the presidential office and Xi himself. I mean, it's China. It's literally illegal to have any shows that involve time travel in China. This doesn't surprise me. It's just more like I've been taking this as I've seen just memes of this Chinese guy that kind of slightly resembles Winnie the Pooh. Not really, though. And it's that little bit of itself is funny. And I'm a big fan of like big, powerful, like threatening figures in like politics and world leaders fucking getting like upset and like
over things like this,
banning memes.
It's the main reason why they probably put it out. It's because Winnie the Pooh is a bear. Communism is related to Russian bears.
There you go.
That's stretching a little far, but yeah, sure.
It's a conspiracy.
I think it's just China's censorship laws are ridiculous in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the changes coming to Rainbow Six Siege because Siege is being launched in China?
Yeah,
they revoked it. It's not happening.
Oh, thank Christ for that.
Oh, good.
But some of the examples that they had, like changing the skull icon to a person with crossed out eyes, and it was just a bunch of small things.
Yeah,
it was just
there was no
the idea of death or violence in a shooting game.
There was no. You couldn't have anything to do with knives.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna punch them to death.
Well, also there was the thing of like, you're not allowed blood splatter, like blood spray, when like being hit by bullets. That was another thing they took out, and I was like, I asked this to Chris. It was like a mutual friend of ours, and he's just like, I was like, isn't that like a main indicator that you've actually hit someone? Because as far as I can remember, there's not much like hit markers. There is, but
there's no hit markers.
Yeah.
What you could do is you could pull in Advanced Warfare. There was a setting in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare where you could change blood splatter to like paintballs, almost.
Yeah.
So you'd actually, if you were to be shooting something, it would shoot out paintballs basically and cover the area in green.
Yeah,
and it would also replace blood splatters that way as well.
Yeah.
So if they were to do that, I would assume it'd be something along the lines of that.
Yeah, like the blood in what's it called, Danganronpa is bright pink.
Yeah.
For that reason.
I think that's for another reason.
Well,
because you mentioned that bear comparison, I'm now just there probably already is like an image that exists, but I'm just imagining like Winnie the Pooh and a Yushanka and a bottle of vodka.
Yeah, that's definitely an image.
That's probably an image. If I don't find it, I'll make one. Hell, I'll make one and put it as an emote on the server. honey for all or something.
That's that. Okay,
What?
I have made a mistake.
What?
What did you type in?
Did you type
I
in
looked up
Russian
communist
bears?
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh
and I
no.
got,
So,
Let's
I
have a
got some
look.
images. Here's the first one.
That's not so bad.
It gets progressively worse.
I'll do so.
Wait a minute.
This last one's just gonna be a blob.
I honestly okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay, yeah, no, I think it's getting there as well.
Oh yeah, there's the comparison to the Chinese president. But
Draw what Winnie the Pooh is thinking. Why?
hold on, because fellas, just typing Russian Winnie the Pooh into Google without images brings up this, which is an actual Russian version of Winnie the Pooh. They made and Winnie the Pooh doesn't look like Winnie the Pooh that we know. It's just like this kind of stocky brown and black bear.
Oh god, that harpsichord at the beginning is fucking haunting.
Oh god. That's not right.
Oh Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Also,
political memes.
Looks like demonic images.
alright, that's the last one.
Oh, Piglet, you aren't involved in that capitalism thing, are you? Because if you are,
I'm a kind of bitch.
so help the motherland. I'll rip your ass new.
I'll fry you up and have you for breakfast.
Fuck. In the
Alright,
Russian,
off the topic of
in the Russian Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore just still looks like Eel. Whereas every other character's
off the
slightly
topic
different.
of communist Winnie the Pooh. What else do
There's
we
a
have?
plushie. There's a plushie you can buy.
Of communist Winnie the Pooh. Hold on. Wait a minute.
There it is. If it'll load in there correctly.
That's actually not so bad.
Yeah.
That's not
I
bad.
don't know where the napkin is coming from, but yeah.
Should we move on to questions?
Well, we still got a couple of
Yeah,
things
do we have
to...
do we have any other news?
Yeah, we do. Mainly,
Ew.
Sony is skipping E3 this year.
Is it explained
Yeah,
why?
what's their reason behind that? I
Well-
skimmed the article.
Sony says, but everyone really knows the answer. I'll get into what the real answer is in a second. So,
Yeah.
the Entertainment Software Association, the lobbyist group that runs E3, confirmed the news today, as did Sony. As the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for inventive opportunities to engage the community, said Sony in a statement. PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 2019. We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019, and can't wait to share our plans with you. Now that's their answer. However,
so basically they don't have anything. They don't have anything to show, do they?
Yeah. That's
They're just
the real
deflecting
answer.
and dodging.
They don't have anything to show. That is the answer.
They don't. Yeah, they just don't have anything.
Like last year's
Like
was kind of sparse, but not really.
that's incredibly transparent. I can't believe they bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems a little off.
So,
if you know,
I'm expecting
big companies.
I'm expecting all the
neglecting
things they
things.
were gonna show off in E3 are already they're already gonna be on PS4 anyway, and they're gonna just get showed off at the others like presentations and that. And B, it might be like a thing of I don't know, maybe the stockholders are like, why isn't the Sony experience more important than E3? And it's like, well, it's not E3, that's why. But either way, all the stuff that they were going to reveal themselves that is anything exclusive or whatever, like Death Stranding and all that, I'm assuming will probably have its own little thing at the next Sony experience or whatever. So I don't really care that much. It's just I literally just care about the answer they gave, which is oh, we're looking for new ways to engage the community. It's bullshit. You don't have anything to show.
Just fess up. Just saying we're not working on so much this year. We think it would just be a waste of everyone's time. So we're just going to save people's time and money.
Yeah,
That's a
It's
perfectly
just
legitimate.
deflecting and
That's a
dodging.
perfectly legitimate answer. Just saying we don't feel like we have enough to show, so we're going to save everyone time and money.
I think that's within reason too.
Like, what is the problem with that?
Well, most companies also, I think it's like showing to competition, oh hey, look at us. We're kind of not existent in competition anymore. You guys have kind of won. They're just kind of deflecting that as well. But even then, competition shouldn't be an issue that you have to worry about.
A, yes, you're right. And B, you can still dress it up saying, like, we're working on some big projects, but they're going to take time. So next year, we're really excited to have these big projects that we're going to finish, but we need more time, and we don't have anything to show right now. Like, that's still a way of kind of staying relevant, but still telling the truth.
I mean, also with that sense
right
as well, it makes you feel that there's a future to have. Right now,
exactly.
it's like
something to look forward
we're out of ideas. We're not talking about anything, so we're just going to completely show or like not show at all.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's badly done.
Yeah, I think that's poor marketing right there.
They're gonna lose a lot of money.
Probably.
Speaking of a lot of money, though, the Shenmue 3 dev declares that $7.1 million has been crowdfunded in total.
Wow.
Now, I haven't played any of the Shenmue games. I'm from a lot of like the recent reviews of like the port of Shenmue 1. Personally, not that interested. Just doesn't look like a nice enough game for me to sink my time into. Like, I am very like I do like that this game is the like Shenmue 1 is kind of the reason why Yakuza exists. I love the Yakuza games. I love them to pieces, but I don't think I love them enough to put up with like 2 hours of nothing, but just like waiting for specific times, then some forklift driving, and then a bit of fighting. I'm just like that.
And that's it.
That's what Shenmue 1 has been described.
I remember Donkey reviewing that game. It was fucking funny.
Yeah, I think I've seen that video. But yeah, I personally don't think I will be interested. But there are people who clearly are. I mean, $7.1 million. Other than that, the only other thing I want to bring up is a video by Jim Sterling. See if he links a BBC News article. I'll post in a second. But number of child gamblers quadruples, which is 2 years in the UK. And, I have a...
It's not surprising.
Pretty good feeling.
This doesn't bother me because I'm an American.
Well, I have a pretty good feeling, and
it's going to transfer over. I know.
It's
going to end
that,
up that
and
way.
It's not just a good feeling. It's pretty much like said, like clear as day, that it's counting loot boxes in video games and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's this is the reason why we bring it up, is because it is heavily involved with the loot box shenanigans. This is the thing. I do not hate loot boxes as a concept. I hate the way they are implemented. I hate the way that they have become such a predatory and quote-unquote necessary part of the AAA gaming industry. I do not think it's necessary. I think they are blowing smoke up everyone's asses every time they say that. Like, oh, AAA game development's so expensive. It's like, you don't... Okay, how about you don't hire celebrities? How about you don't shoot these elaborate, pointless live-action trailers? How about you just do a normal fucking trailer and just show it everywhere? How about you don't do stupid, pointless bullshit marketing that doesn't actually help? And how about you just make a fucking game? Because this is the thing.
Yeah. And I think the main reason, okay, yeah, sure, you're supposed to make the money back in a way, but have it presented in a way that makes you want to buy the game, rather than spend more and more money on it just to progress. I think that's kind of stupid.
Well,
I don't think it should be as it is right now, where it's basically a cash grab for every developer.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, Activision.
I don't really have a problem with loot boxes as a whole, as long as they're implemented in like the right way for cosmetic purposes and not pay to win, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I do have an issue with the fact that under 18s can buy them.
Yeah.
I think if you want to waste money on loot boxes, go right ahead, as long as you're 18 or over.
Yeah. I agree.
And if you're not, I think you should be required to give some kind of credit card information or some kind of proof of identity that you are over 18 and can buy these things.
I think C-Line knows I've gone on a bender with Overwatch, but Overwatch does it right for loot box systems, so I mean, it didn't really matter too much.
I think they have it.
In the end, I was going to get the same goal.
I think they have it right now. They did not used to have it right, in my opinion. Like, now you don't get duplicates anymore, and it's just everything feels like correct value, you know? Except for, like...
Yeah.
Personally, except for, like the new skins. Like, when skins are new, they're, like, 3 times... Like, they're all... Like, whenever it's always legendary skins as well. Like, whenever they are released, they're, like, 3 times as expensive as the regular or, like, the older legendary skins. But I get it.
That's the only gripe I have with it, but it also makes sense because it's an event item, typically how that goes. Because if they're going to add a new skin into the game, it's typically just like, oh yeah, you could go buy it for the same price because we're going to keep it in the game. But if it's an event item, they raise it up to 3,000.
Yeah. This thing. A recent news sort of thing also happened. I know this from Yongyi. But a Ubisoft representative has come out with his defense of loot boxes, and it's terrible. It's terrible. But like, there are things in it I get, but when you really think about it, just do not work. So I'll read it. Like, this is a from a Steam forum under Trials Rising, where like Trials Rising has implemented loot boxes. Though they are cosmetic, they are still, the community is not happy about it. And this is the response from UB Warlock. Hey, as has been pointed out, these loot crates are purely cosmetic. I do appreciate why players feel the way they do about them. Not a huge fan myself, he says in parentheses. However, as it was pointed out, you can always just not buy them. Ultimately, they're intended for players who want something to help them stand out from the crowd when playing online, or even just those who are big fans of the game and want to support us further. Yes, it means some players end up spending more on our games than others, and that does result in increased profits for us. It also helps us put more money into new titles to understand what players look for in their games. If players simply didn't buy these crates, they would not be added into games in future. All in all, loot crates / cosmetic items in general have been a huge boon for the gaming industry, being a driving factor in the increased popularity of gaming over the past decade or so. They aren't a bad thing if done right. Your feedback on the topic is still very much appreciated, as this is a hotly debated topic. I do hope you consider the impact it would actually have on your enjoyment of the game. Ubisoft supports. Now, Yongyi has
big thonk there.
Yongyi has
hella thonk.
Yongyi has broken this down paragraph by paragraph, and my opinion of this response is his. Like, his breakdown was that let's go with that. Do appreciate why players feel the way they do about them. Not a huge fan myself. However, it was also pointed out you could always just not buy them. The problem is that whenever loot boxes are implemented into a game, as far as I can tell, I've not come across a single instance of them not being designed in such a predatory manner. Like, every single instance I've seen of a loot box being in a video game, it is designed to wear you down, to make you cave, to make you just go, oh fuck it, I'll buy a box or two. That's how they are designed.
They make the grind for these like skins and emotes and cosmetics without buying loot boxes so slow that people just cave into trying to get a shortcut because people are inherently lazy. I don't blame them.
It's not even just that. It's that people will have just addictive personalities, and like they
take advantage of it.
That's primarily what loot boxes exploit. They exploit people like me. I have an addictive personality. I've bought loot boxes in the past, and I've fucking regretted it. And just this response just doesn't count for jack shit. Like, even when he says not a huge fan myself, it doesn't matter. Especially, okay, there were things in his response that genuinely pissed me off. So, the things he says where they're intended for players who want something to help them stand out from the crowd when playing online. Everyone wants to fucking stand out from the crowd. What do you mean? Who doesn't? Like, there are very few people who will be like, oh, I don't care, I'm not interested in the skins in this, like, game whose primary economy is based on, hey, player,
if you don't stand out, the rest of it's gonna seem bland.
Yeah.
That's the main issue.
It's also the bit where he says, it's mainly the bit right at the end, where he says, I do hope you consider the impact it would actually have on your enjoyment of the game. The fucking insinuation that you're blowing this out of proportion. I fucking hate that. I genuinely despise that. It's him like uplifting the problem from the developer's standpoint and saying, "Oh, it's the gamer's fault. If you don't want it, don't buy it. It's your own fault that you're getting so worked up on a set."
It shouldn't be an option in the first place because it shows that you're trying to manipulate that addictive personality.
Over something that is quote unquote optional when we all know it's fucking not. It's not optional.
And it can also, in case of Shadow of War, which thankfully they removed the system of, it could help you in progression where you could get certain things that would aid you in your quest. Like, for example, in Shadow of War, you could get captains. Let's say I lost a fortress, which I have done every fortress I have in my current run. You could go buy some captains that are significantly better than yours because they're under-leveled because you haven't paid attention to the area you've been. You could get captains that are on your level because that's how the system was designed. So you could literally do nothing, or you could go out, spend maybe 3 hours, get your captains up exactly, and 3 hours is fucking complete exaggeration because it took me an hour to get where I am. Yeah. But let's just say, if that system wasn't like that, you would have problems that would be bound, or that would stop you from like progressing. Or in the case of Shadow of War, you could literally do nothing, spend maybe $5, and you could progress the game even faster. And that's taking of someone's personality, being addictive to something, like getting progression or something that you like, and using that against you to, exploit you for money.
Yep.
Yeah. Well.
No, my opinion on microtransactions is well known. Like, again,
fuck them.
I think overall they just need to go away. I understand why game companies implement them, and if done well, like if the grind for those items outside of microtransactions isn't so bad, if they're again purely cosmetic and don't affect gameplay, and if they're actually if they shower you with free ones as well, like I don't, to a certain extent. Again, I'm kind of being devil's advocate. I still hate them.
Yeah.
But to a certain extent, I can understand why they put them in. Yeah. However, there are so many bad examples out there. Of course, EA is the big one, but
EA is the one that's under criminal investigation for it.
Yeah, true. But even the ones like Overwatch and
there's still an extent
CSGO.
of. I think CS:GO. Okay, I think CS:GO loot boxes should have stopped at the scandal of gambling and shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Even fucking Rainbow Six Siege alpha packs to a certain extent, I don't like at all.
I think alpha packs I'm okay with. I think they're within reason. It shows you the chances of getting it. The chances are there.
If you take out the fact that you can get duplicates, I think
duplicates.
The system is fine. But
which is why in the event items they take out the chance of duplicates.
Did you see Tuxbird's video of opening 75 alpha packs?
No.
It's fucking hilarious. A, it's fucking hilarious. Like, just go and watch it. And B, it does highlight some of the issues with the system. He gets the same skin for Ash like 4 times in a row, and it's just fucking stupid.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not right. I think the way they do it though,
I'm gonna find that video actually and link it.
If they were to treat it like how they do with event items, and how that if you were to get a pack, it would be non-duplicates at all, I think that's how the system should work. But I also think you should be able to get those items again, even though to me cosmetics do not matter for shit in that game. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. Like, Overwatch, I can get the point of, like, oh, this skin's flashy, it makes me stand out, but literally, it's like Siege. Some things will actually hinder you because you want to be stealthy. If you're fucking like me and you're playing Jaeger in a black uniform, but you have that stupid orange headgear, that doesn't matter if you're in darkness or not. Someone's gonna see you. You're gonna get shot because you look so easy to get, or like, see in darkness. It doesn't matter.
I posted a link to it. It starts about 6.5 minutes in.
6.5.
It's quite funny, to be honest, just to see him lose his sanity over getting such shit. Like, you would think in 75 alpha packs he'd get something good. He doesn't. He absolutely doesn't.
I'm gonna have this on running in the background. But yeah, it's all just completely insane.
The system's fucked. There's no way around it.
Well, unfortunately, I think because people still do buy loot boxes and stuff, game companies are never going to take it out. Like, of course, if no one buys them, like if loot boxes actually made zero money, then like, well, what's the point in developing the system? What's the point in investing money in the system if it's going to make us no money? The fact that they're still doing it means that people are still buying it, which means they're not going to stop.
Well,
yeah, it's
just despite the outcry.
I still think some people are
somewhere...
going to stop. Like, even the people who like, even that, what was it? It was some kid like spent like 15 grand on loot boxes and microtransactions in one game.
Jesus Christ.
I think it was. I don't think it was Fortnite. I don't think it was, but don't quote me on that. I do not remember which game it was.
I think you'll see
Fortnite doesn't have a loot box. To begin with, they don't have loot boxes. Just buying V-Bucks and then waiting for an item you want in the shop. So,
I think
if you're spending money on that, you're making a mistake. CS would make sense though. It would make sense because there's a serious profit margin that you could get from it. You know, getting a knife that's like one of a kind or a certain set of a kind would make hella money. And I'm gonna use the term hella because it's such a fucking meme. Because that's how exactly it is. It's ridiculous amounts of money depending on the rarity. So, I mean, it would make sense for some games like CSGO because trading's huge, and I think TF2 follows under that same problem of if you unbox something, you get something incredibly good, you could either make a shitload of money or it's, like, worth nothing.
Yeah.
And in that case, it is gambling. And most games that have an unboxing system to get items, it's that exactly.
Some people get a thrill out of it. Which is, again, exploiting an addiction.
Yeah, that runs back into the same topic of discussion of this is using someone's addiction to gain profit from it.
Yep. Anyway, should we move on to the questions?
Well,
we wrap up with some questions.
We got time. We got time for the story you posted, Volk.
No, because I'm not ready to talk about that yet. There's some things that I need to run through and look for some backstory behind because it's kind of fucked how it is right now.
Okay, fair enough. You honestly, I think you're the only one like who could speak on this.
That pays attention to this shit.
Well, I'm we won't speak on it, I guess. But yeah, you're the guy for this. So yeah, I guess we'll move on to the questions then. Right. So I'm gonna go from the top there. Right. Question number 1 comes in from First Mate Wangstein. Why is Sea Lion so sexy?
Look at Trip.
Sorry, what? What? I spaced out for a second there. What?
I'm sorry. My sexiness distracted me clearly. As to
That's
why?
Not what I was getting at.
As to why? I don't know.
You look at me, you see a fucking blob of meat. You look at Trip, you got a hunk of a man, then you have Sea Lion.
Oh,
you're like,
hardly.
I'm gonna jizz in my pants.
Fuck off.
Hey, take the compliment and fucking accept it, loser.
Fucking round as well.
Yeah, but at least you look good.
No, I don't.
Okay, there's so much self-deprecation going on right now. I have a feeling that some of our listeners are gonna want to call like Suicide Watch or something.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
Hey, it's British humour. Get real.
It's true.
It's my sense of humor.
Yeah. You secretly British folk. You fit in right over here.
I mean, technically he's American. If it wasn't for us, he wouldn't exist in the first place.
At least we drive on the right side of the road, losers.
You're fucking wrong.
We're getting political.
Okay.
We're getting political.
Okay.
This is not the point of the podcast. Stop. Stop.
It's school, not shooting range.
Oh, no.
Wow, way to steer us away from the political trip.
Oh, God.
Dude, I shouldn't have said that.
Why don't we make an amendment to this podcast and move on to the next question? Hey.
I'm gonna shoot myself now.
Probably just cut
Get Suicide Watch, please.
Don't do it in a school.
From the...
There'll be a whole thing. Alright, so Pradeth says, lol. Not a question.
That's not a fucking question.
Crack says Pog or PogChamp. Which one's Pog?
Pog. Here. Pog.
That's like just the mouth.
Those
one,
are the two
it?
differences.
There's one is the face, one is the mouth.
I'm a PogChamp, I guess.
I got Pog.
I think PogChamp for me.
You guys are fucking losers.
Pradeth says, any questions in particular? Just, yeah, anything you like. Thick Shady says, "You're all fired."
You're all fired.
It's not a question. So,
Hey, that's me.
oh, hey, you've broken.
Wait a minute.
Broken the
I
illusion.
guess I'm fired as well.
You've broken the illusion. You are actually fired. You fucked up.
I am fired. We just went over this. I am fired. We're all fired. If I'm part of that, we are all.
Next week, join in to tune in to join me and Sea Lion. Come over some latest news.
Yeah.
No one else. Who are you talking about?
We'll cover the story. We'll cover the story that we just decided that we will leave for next week, and we'll just say what it is and go. Moving on.
I'll just cease from existence now. While I'm ahead of myself.
Your voice is curling into the fetal position.
Okay, no, that was strangely sexual.
I'm sorry, hasn't, like, the first 20 minutes of this been strangely sexual?
True, but that one was up there.
Is that better for you?
You ruined it. You ruined it. It's not doing it for me, I'm afraid.
Have you lost your boner trip? I'm sorry, I didn't realise that.
I was gonna say,
I didn't realise that was
your
what you were
erection
going
gone
for
down yet?
during the podcast recording. Jeez. Alright.
I didn't know my random noises made you want to whip your dick out. You're Christ killer.
I guess that's why we know that's
Your spirit of destiny.
like I guess now we know why he's just constantly talking in your streams, Volk.
I still can't get over that.
Good.
Alright, before we get back onto the topic of dicks again, can we move on?
Okay. I have a good one. Why can't dogs look up? They can pray. They can. You're wrong. You're just wrong. Also, more game related. Thoughts on what loot boxes in DMC 5 will be like, and do you think they will take a similar approach to recent games where they slow down progression and push people
Look,
towards...
is he reading the future? Hold on.
No.
Okay, we just
we
just
talked about this.
Yeah, that's very coincidental. But
there are loot boxes in DMC 5?
Yes. I will explain this. Now, there were loot boxes in DMC 4 Special Edition when it came out on the PS4. However, I was wrong when I said earlier where I can't think of an example where loot boxes aren't predatory. DMC 4 is that example. You literally do not need the loot boxes at all. The entire point of that game is to go back into levels to get a load of what you would get in DMC 4 was red orbs. Red orbs would help. In 4 it was what was it called? It was a soul fragment or something. I was just playing the game. How the fuck do I not know the name of it? But you would basically get this thing that allowed you that you collect enough of, and you get to unlock skills and abilities for characters, and that is basically what the microtransactions in DMC 4 was. Prey's got it slightly wrong. It's there will be microtransactions in DMC 5. There won't be loot boxes, but they were literally the most unnecessary attachment ever. Not in the sake of it ruined the game, as in it didn't affect the game whatsoever. Nobody bought those microtransactions, and when I say nobody, I don't mean figuratively. I mean literally. There has been a record that nobody has purchased the microtransactions from DMC 4.
So why are they in the new one?
They pulled a No Man's Sky on microtransactions.
Because Capcom said, put them in. And then the developers went, okay, we'll put in the microtransactions, but they have broken down how much blood cells you red orbs that you will get.
Blood cells.
Because I picturing them in my head without recognizing the name. They look like blood cells, kind of with little faces. I'll show you in the VOD. But the red orbs. That you would the amount you would get through purchasing them in the microtransactions. This is for 5, by the way. They've broken it down, and it's trivial. There's literally no point in buying the microtransactions. So long as the microtransactions is fucking trivial, they will not be an issue, and you can completely ignore them. So I'm fine with it. Because from what I can tell, they will be a non-issue.
In other news, fuck Capcom.
I mean, it's Capcom. They charge a ridiculous amount of money for characters and stages and fighting games. I'm not surprised that they said put them in. I'm not surprised in the slightest. Yeah. The fucking prices and shit for Street Fighter 5 stuff is fucking ridiculous. I'm not going to get on that.
We've already talked about we've already talked about 2 of these questions, and the next one's pretty up there as well because Fallout, 80% drop in sales.
Yeah.
Also talking about if they can salvage the game. We hope they can salvage the game. We clearly do because we don't want to see something crash and burn like this.
Yeah, there's kind of 2 questions saying whether
There's
whether
3
they can
really.
salvage it, and also whether whether like how it will affect Starfield and Test 6. So in terms of salvaging Fallout 76,
it's possible.
They've got their work cut out. But they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, they have a ton of work to do, but it is possible.
I'm like, mods for a start need to be in.
They need to go now instead of waiting a year.
And there needs to be more content, but the problem is they've already said like the rate that MMOs grow, because that's what it is now. It's an MMO. It's going to be probably at least a year before a significant amount of content is added, and it's also going to be a year before mods are added. So maybe a year from now it might see a resurgence, but to be honest, I think it's just going to slowly decline.
It's crashing and burning right now.
Yeah.
I mean, people are refunding the game. There was a tweet by someone who plays TF2 quite a bit and dropped it, but he put out a tweet about him going to GameStop, and some guy was trying to refund the game. He was like, "We're not accepting this. In fact, the best we could do is give you $25 in store credit."
Wow.
Yeah, that says something about how people are not buying this game, because if it was in demand in some form, they would, give them cash. They would give them cash instead of store credit, and give them, a reasonable price for a AAA game that they paid $60 for, rather than, a third of that price.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball on this one, and I think, I mean, they're already going to be investing money into it, just maintaining the servers. And updating patches and stuff, so
servers that don't even fucking work.
Yeah, again, so it depends how much effort they want to put in. Either they're going to do the bare minimum, just let the game die and try and minimize their losses, or they're actually going to try and put their asses in gear and try and make something out of this game. But even if they do that, I still think this game's launch has been marred so much, like not quite as bad as some others, but it's up there. It's now notorious in the same sentence as just fucking ridiculous bugs, like broken game, disappointing. So even if they do put a ton of work and money into it, the chances that they're going to receive a good return is unlikely. So I hope they're going to learn from this, and they're going to put more effort and better decision making into Starfield and Test 6. But I would be lying if I say that I'm confident in their ability to make Starfield and Test 6 good. Like, this has worried me. The last month or so has really worried me in the development of, again, my favourite fucking game series, so yeah.
Same.
I don't know.
Thank you.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Thank you for those questions, JG. Prey again. Asks something. I'll just skip that a little bit. One more question: Will Ryan Reynolds' version of Deadpool and Pikachu ever be on the same screen in a buddy cop style movie? I mean,
I honestly could see that in the next Deadpool movie.
I could see a fan making that movie. I could see a couple of fans making that movie for definite. I can see some references.
Oh wait, no, this is Fallout 4. Never mind. Forget this. Scrap it.
All right.
Yeah.
Actual
I can
question.
see some references being made, and maybe a cameo, but a full-on movie. I mean, that would probably be funny as hell, but I don't know.
Impossible. Yeah. First Make Weinstein asks, actual question, will Volk ever have facial hair? He will, but when he reaches puberty. And that's it for the questions for this
Alright, you know what? I'm yanking my balls down right now. Do you want me to go any further with it?
I just got a horrible image in my mouth.
Well, no, don't yank them too far. They'll come off.